I observe October of the year 2025 as if it were a corridor stretching ahead. It is not a month that opens doors wide, nor a month that closes them behind. It is the space in between, a passage filled with echoes, shifting lights, and the uneasy rhythm of footsteps. Humanity walks through it carrying fatigue, hopes that have grown heavy, and the constant noise of a world that refuses to be silent. In this passage, the greatest challenge is not a lack of opportunity, but a lack of clarity. And clarity is the first requirement for true productivity. The atmosphere of October is charged with contradiction. Outside, the weather moves in sudden jerks. One day storms tearing through the coast, another day calm skies broken by rays of light that appear almost theatrical. Inside, people feel much the same. Unsettled, restless, seeking balance but unable to hold it for long. The month is a mirror, and what it shows is disjointed rhythm, the kind of rhythm that keeps humanity awake at night. In such a climate, the human mind struggles. Productivity is not only about energy, it is about direction, and direction is the very thing that seems unstable now. Every hour brings another notification, another headline, another warning that the world is veering one way or another. People imagine themselves informed, but in reality, they are being drowned in currents that scatter focus into 1,000 shards. The sensation is like trying to compose a letter while drums are pounding on every wall. It is not thought that is missing, it is silence. The first great thief of productivity in October is the phenomenon of noise. Not only the physical clamor of cities, not only the voices rising from machines and screens, but the psychic noise that never allows a thought to breathe. Humanity has constructed a culture in which being updated is valued above being centered. Yet every update fragments the day into smaller and smaller pieces until no piece is large enough for creation. The paradox is sharp. The more informed one feels, the less capable one becomes of building anything new. Beneath this noise rests another exhaustion. For years, people have been told to expect revolutions. Revolutions of technology, of politics, of culture. Each month was supposed to be the month when everything would transform. Each invention was framed as the turning point, each promise as the final answer. But by October 2025, a recognition spreads. Most of these revolutions are still unfinished, many are broken, and others reveal themselves as illusions. The promised future does not arrive on schedule, and the weight of this realization presses against every worker, every student, every dreamer. When expectation and reality clash, energy drains away. It is not laziness that slows humanity, it is disappointment. People push themselves with slogans of efficiency, but their minds resist, aware that slogans do not replace meaning. In October, this tension becomes stronger. Many wake each morning with the thought that they must do more, but by evening, they have spent their strength on resisting doubts rather than on completing tasks. Productivity dissolves not into sleep, but into anxiety. Nature itself contributes to this climate. Autumn shortens the light, darkness lengthens evenings, and the human body responds with heaviness. In cities, the electric glow masks this rhythm, but it does not erase it. Fatigue builds earlier in the day, concentration slides into wandering thoughts, and the mind looks for distractions rather than depth. The season conspires with the psyche to create a landscape where intention is high, but follow-through is scarce. And yet within this struggle lies the first path forward. Productivity does not grow by shouting down the noise, it grows by filtering it. Just as headphones with noise cancellation do not silence the world but shape it, so must people learn to carve away the signals that do not serve their purpose. The secret is not to exile oneself from information, but to choose the channels that matter. A single clear source can be more powerful than 100 fragmented ones. In October, the individuals and groups who succeed in narrowing their intake will discover a sudden recovery of energy. The silence between signals is where creation begins. The second path is hidden in the scale of ambition. Humanity dreams in monuments but works best in bricks. October is not the month of cathedrals, it is the month of stones carefully placed. To attempt vast projects now is to invite frustration, but to commit to small, achievable steps is to build momentum that resists despair. Each minor completion is like a spark against the darkness, and sparks collected over a month become a fire that sustains the winter ahead. The lesson is simple, yet often ignored. Smaller goals are not lesser goals. They are the scaffolding on which greater works eventually rest. In October 2025, those who insist on enormous achievements may find themselves trapped in unfinished beginnings. But those who permit themselves modest completions will look back and see genuine progress. This approach is not resignation, it is strategy. Just as a field yields harvests through patient tending, not through impatient demands, so too must productivity be measured not in sudden leaps, but in steady advances. Each finished paragraph, each resolved conversation, each organized task is a seed. The seeds of October may appear ordinary, but they will be the roots of resilience when larger challenges return. Thus, the guidance of the first part is clear. Humanity stands in a corridor of noise and fatigue. The temptation is to accelerate, to run faster through the passage, in the hope of finding daylight sooner. But running only amplifies confusion. The wiser course is to walk with precision. Cut away the noise, narrow the focus, and allow small victories to accumulate. October teaches that true productivity is not about speed, it is about clarity. And clarity is a quiet flame, steady even when the storm outside is loud. Those who learn to light this flame will find that the corridor of October is not endless. It bends, it leads, and eventually it opens. But only those who have conserved their strength will recognize the door when it appears. I return to the corridor of October 2025, where humanity continues to walk beneath flickering lights. In the first part of this vision, I showed how noise drains attention, how disappointment weakens resolve, and how small goals form the scaffolding of progress. Now the journey deepens. Beyond the trimming of noise and the modest spark of small completions, there are practices that transform survival into strength. October is not only a trial, it is a workshop in which humanity can learn techniques of resilience that will serve long after this month fades. The first of these practices lies in the recognition of silence. Amid the endless broadcast of the world, there are pockets of quiet that often pass unnoticed. The stillness before dawn, the calm after midnight, the hush of early afternoon when conversations subside. These are windows, narrow but powerful. In them, the world offers a truce, and the human mind can extend itself without interruption. Those who learn to use these windows will accomplish in 2 hours what others scatter across 2 days. The value of such silence is not simply the absence of distraction, it is the presence of depth. Within silence, thought can stretch its limbs fully. It can follow a line without fear of being cut short. Imagine a city at night. Billboards dim, streets empty, screens go dark one by one. In an apartment window, a lamp still glows, and there someone writes, studies, creates. The silence outside becomes the foundation of their focus inside. October contains many such moments, and those who recognize them will shape their month into something coherent. Productivity is not a marathon of effort. It is a careful insertion of concentrated hours where the world least expects them. The second practice is the art of completion. Humanity excels at beginnings, the spark of ideas, the enthusiasm of launch, the thrill of possibility. But October exposes the weakness of constant novelty. The month itself is a reminder that cycles close, harvests end, and fields must be cleared. To begin without ending is to leave corridors cluttered with debris so that the next step stumbles. Productivity is not the number of projects initiated, but the number of doors firmly shut behind. One completed task, however small, frees the mind more than 10 unfinished ones. Completion requires courage, for it often means confronting imperfection. Many abandon projects because they fear that the final result will not match the vision. But imperfection completed is stronger than perfection imagined. October insists on this lesson. Finish the letter, close the account, publish the draft, end the meeting. Each conclusion is like clearing the corridor of obstacles so that the next traveler walks unhindered. In the arithmetic of productivity, closure is a multiplier. The third practice is balance between energy and rest. Autumn shortens days and drains bodies, yet cultures teach people to resist, to drive harder against fatigue. This resistance consumes more than it grants. In October, those who allow themselves restoration will paradoxically accomplish more. Rest is not the enemy of productivity, it is its silent partner. A walk among falling leaves, an hour of sleep. Even 5 minutes of conscious breathing can reset the rhythm. The mind, refreshed, approaches work not as punishment but as possibility. Imagine a machine that runs without pause. It overheats, it slows, it breaks. Humans are no different. Recovery is not indulgence. It is maintenance of the engine that carries thought and labor. Linked to rest is the fourth practice, collaboration. October breeds doubts, and doubts grow stronger in solitude. When a person works alone amid uncertainty, the voice of hesitation grows until it drowns the voice of purpose. But when people gather, voices cross and amplify one another. One spark becomes flame, one insight becomes solution. Collaboration transforms hesitation into momentum. The corridor of October is dim, but a group walking together creates light. Imagine many candles moving through a tunnel. The walls still echo, but the shadows retreat. Productivity flourishes not when each individual pushes alone, but when individuals align and share the burden. In this month especially, collective effort will achieve what solitary effort cannot. The fifth practice is clarity of purpose. Noise, fatigue, and distraction blur the line between what matters and what merely occupies. Productivity dissolves when tasks pile up without anchor. But when a person or a community remembers the reason behind the labor, the fog clears. Ask, why do I write this? Why do I build this? Why do I pursue this? The answer, even if simple, restores direction. In October, clarity functions like a compass in the corridor. Without it, movement is frantic and circular. With it, even a slow pace becomes true progress. Clarity is not only for grand missions, it applies to the smallest actions. When someone prepares a meal with the clear purpose of nourishing themselves and others, the act becomes efficient and satisfying. When someone answers messages with the purpose of closing loops rather than merely reacting, the task shrinks from burden to achievement. Purpose is not abstraction. It is the lens that makes all actions visible. These practices, silence, completion, balance, collaboration, clarity, form a suite of tools. They do not erase the chaos of October, but they allow humanity to move through it without being consumed. The month remains a corridor, but now the corridor has torches on its walls, clear paths on its floor, and companions at its side. The same world that seemed hostile becomes manageable, even instructive. And there is one more insight to carry. Productivity is often measured in speed, in volume, in output. But the deeper truth of October is that productivity is measured in alignment. A single hour lived in alignment with purpose surpasses a dozen scattered in confusion. A single finished task releases more potential than 100 that linger unfinished. A single shared effort strengthens more than countless solitary struggles. This is the mathematics of resilience. So, what shall humanity do in October 2025 to increase its productivity? Listen for silence and work within it. Finish what has been started, even imperfectly. Rest without guilt, for rest preserves the engine. Gather with others to share the flame. Hold purpose as compass. These are not mystical secrets. They are practical disciplines, and their power is amplified precisely in times of noise and fatigue. October is a test, but not a cruel one. It is a rehearsal for a future in which uncertainty may be constant. By practicing now, humanity prepares itself for the years ahead. The month that began as a corridor of echoes becomes a workshop of skills. And when the door at the end of the passage finally opens, those who have learned these disciplines will step out, not exhausted, but ready. This is the closing of the vision. The noise of the world will not vanish, the storms will not cease, the contradictions will not resolve overnight. But productivity does not require a perfect world. It requires a disciplined one. October 2025 offers this lesson to all who are willing to hear it. Don't forget subscribe.